A very pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the 30th of August. Today is a day that we're going to bring close members of the family of George William to the world. You're going to get a chance to see the lovely lady Pamela Green, which is George's niece, who has been taking care of George for a little over 1 year since George has been released. You're also going to be speaking with Alwyn Jones, George's little brother, who has been missing him for many, many, many years. You're also going to be speaking with Sean Prendergast, the president and founder of the Rudolph Prendergast Foundation, who have stretched forth his hand along with Siddiqui Williams to help George and has pledged to help George in the future to come. Today is going to be a very spiritual day. Today is going to be a very emotional day because sometimes I do get emotional when I speak about the atrocities, when I speak about the wickedness that they have done to our people. Now, George, as you know, is a beautiful young man at age 21 years old who was arrested, didn't go before a judge because they said he wasn't fit to stand trial. And also, George spent over 53 years of his life without ever going in front of a judge, without ever being convicted of a crime. He was just let go this past July last year, 2020. And up until this day, the government has not stretched forth their hand to alleviate the stress and the pain that the family has been going through. The sleepless night that Pamela Green has been going through trying to fend for her uncle. The sleepless night that Alwyn Jones has been going through, missing his brother for over 50 years and also not being able to find out where his brother is. And also George Williams' mother, who continued to search for her son. She did everything to find her son. Even before she passed away, she wanted to know where was her little George. Today, it touches the core of my heart, but I'm going to introduce you now to George Williams. And you get a chance to see this beautiful human being.
Woman live in the yard. We woke up out early morning, walk out to try to look some government work, achieve what we get. And what do they want to give me?
Well, guess what? I promise you
Yes,
that whatever should be due to you, I'm going to make sure that we give it to you.
You unravel me with the melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemy, till all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. Yes, I am a child of God. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Yes, we are children of the Most High God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name, and I've been born again into a family. Your blood flows through my veins. child of God. Yes, I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Yes, I am a child of God. We are free. We've been liberated from our bondage. From our bondage, we are free. We've been liberated from our bondage. We are free. We've been liberated from our bondage. Oh, I am surrounded by the arms of the Father, and I am surrounded by songs of deliverance, and we've been liberated from our bondage, and we're the sons and the daughters. Let us sing now, freedom. Oh, let us sing our freedom.
Freedom. Freedom, we sing of freedom. And even though George Williams is not imprisoned, but he's still not free because the nightmares continue. The pain continues. The suffering continues. And only his family is there. I'm going to bring my two special guests on now. I'm going to bring the niece and the brother of George Williams. And I'm also going to bring in the studio Sean Prendergast, the president and founder of the Rudolph Prendergast Foundation. Welcome, Pamela. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Well,
Good afternoon.
I'm not feeling so well because George is not feeling so well. Also, we have Sean Prendergast. Sean, how you doing?
Well, not too good,
I understand because I know
Yeah,
how you felt, Sean, when I
Yeah, the
reached out to you that
situation,
morning.
the situation of, what they did to George, I'm just the president of my foundation. I shouldn't have to come on a live media show to tell Delroy Chuck and what's his name? Delroy Chang, Arias Chang, that what they do to this man was wrong, and for Delroy Chang to be the minister of national
National
security,
security. Yes.
from this man come out of prison, he should have stepped forward and did his diligent duty. He shouldn't have to let somebody that have to be thinking about get a lawyer or get anyone to be involved in this. And also the DPP, Paula Llewellyn, I don't know why she asked for 3 more years and why they granted to her. Because for all these years, she haven't been delivering any justice to the people, the Jamaican people. She haven't been delivering no justice, and Delroy Chuck should make this the point of his duty to make sure Mr. George Williams get justice. and get the justice that he deserved. To take away 53 years of a man's life from his family. He don't even get a chance to get a family, to have a family of his own. They robbed him of that right. And to the government of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, I'm talking about, and Christopher Tufton, the health minister. They need to do a lot more to the people of Jamaica instead of suppressing them, because all I see they're doing is suppressing the people.
Okay. Before we get into the meat of the matter, I want to hear a little bit more from Pamela. What was it like? You're going to get a chance, Sean, to speak directly and address whoever you want to address. This is a fair platform. But I just want to bring the fans, in the earlier part and hear from Pamela and Alwyn. What was it like to be without your uncle and your brother for all these years? And what was it like when freedom in the flesh, not in the mentality of George, came about? Whichever one of you want to start,
Yes.
madam. You want to go, Alwyn? What was it like for you, man, all these years when you know your brother was locked up behind bars? What was going through your mind?
Boy, growing up without I'll say a elder brother, your mind have to really run on him all the while.
Yes.
And what will be the outcome of this? And over the years, as I said, my mother, she's gone now, but that was the heartache that's what she had. And all the while throughout life, my big consideration always be, what will be the outcome? When will he be released? Or will he will be released? Some of the time you give up on it. And so there are times too that you think that there is no justice. Right? Because at least there is nobody to tell you what direction can be taken, or even for you even to consider what can be an outcome. So growing up over the years, it's always be a big consideration. And boy, it finally went away. I acknowledge what can be done. And from then on, I started to work on such a case.
Yeah.
And knowing that to a final end, there comes one day. If it's miracle, I give thanks for that miracle that happened, that he could get released. So I thank God that he's here now, and wish for the authorities to be, our authorities that is now here, to have even some compassion. Because as far I am critical of governments, I'm that type of person, but I overall would even want to give a thumbs up to whosoever is in authority that can even look in this direction and see that justification is not done to him yet.
Powerful. Pamela, what was it like? You're still a young woman, so what was it like without an uncle? Growing up, just hearing about George William and as a young little girl, and I know you must have, hurt a whole lot to know that at least you have Alwyn as a uncle, but brother George, Uncle George wasn't there. What was it like before freedom for you?
It was always, and then after 12, 13, she always bring me to the prison to visit him. She always visit him 3 or 4 times for the month, take his foods and all of that. And it was always sad because we always have to just talk to him through that box and that telephone. And grandma always break down. She was always crying. And then, it was always a sad situation. Sometimes she don't have it. Sometimes she have to source the food from other people, neighbors, friends, close by relatives, and stuff like that. To always reach out to George and make sure we know that, although we know in the prison how the situation is, but we try to make him comfortable. So we try to visit him as often as we could. After Grandma passed away, it was me and Aldwin Jones who would visit him. And, it's a rough road. It was a rough road going through because we have a lot of obstacles in between, right? So now that he is free, we're glad that he made it out alive. That's the greatest thing, he made it out alive. He didn't die and then he could die and we don't hear anything about him. But we're glad he make it out alive. And, we just hope that's just like how you and Sean Prendergast and the foundation reach out. I hope some of the heads of government, they will reach out and have some form of passion and do what they know they're supposed to do.
I agree with you ever so much, because being without an uncle figure in your life, and George not being able to have children, it must have been rough on the family. And grandma passed away without ever blessing her eyes on her son, a free man. Now, a lot of people have been asking, why was George even there in the first place? Can you explain to us?
Well, Aldwin Jones, I didn't born at that time, so Aldwin Jones would explain that.
Could you explain?
Yeah. Well, it's just a clear understanding of the system.
Yes.
He wasn't to be there because he was a psychiatric patient.
Okay.
But the system that exists in this country, I don't know if they're trying to clear it now, but the system that exists from that time is that such people should be locked away and given some psychiatric treatment until they are able to plead guilty. But they have what is called the Governor General pleasure. And it's a ruling by a judge. And they place it on the Governor General's pleasure, and it is the duty of the Governor General to review all of these cases. But they have never been reviewed. They have never been reviewed.
And what really brought George's case to the fore was the case of Noel Chambers.
Certainly.
An 81-year-old man who was arrested and never brought before a judge. And he actually stayed in prison for 40 years until he reached the age of 81. He was bitten. He was suffering from severe diabetes. He was covered with roaches and chinks and so on. A matter of fact, the Indicom, they say that the Noel Chambers case, and I'm gonna play something from that so that world can get a chance to hear what happened with Noel Chambers. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I find the Noel Chambers case. Here it is. "40 years in prison."
An inmate is detained at the pleasure of Her Majesty, the Governor General, or the court, if that person is unfit to plead or is found guilty but is suffering from a mental disorder. Mr. Chambers was being held at the pleasure of the Governor General after being charged for murder on February 4, 1980. But despite officially being passed fit to plea multiple times over his 40-year imprisonment at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility, Mr. Chambers was never brought before a judge.
The report reveals that there are serious breaches of rights regarding fair trial and speedy trial of persons who were thought unfit to plead, but who are now fit to plead, and serious breaches of the right against inhumane treatment, in that these persons who are mentally ill are being kept under inhumane conditions in our national prisons.
According to Commissioner Williams, Mr. Chambers died on January 27 this year after he collapsed while being treated at hospital. He perished from an acute and severe kidney infection.
When found by Indicom upon his death, he was chronically emaciated, severely malnourished. His body was covered with vermin bites, and there were live bed bugs, popularly called in Jamaica chink, all over his body, and he was suffering bed sores. It was clear that he was a victim of inhumane treatment in our prisons.
Indicom found 9 other inmates who've been declared fit to plea, but have not been placed before a judge. The oversight body also found at least 15 inmates who've been in prison for more than 30 years without being tried. All this, despite the Commissioner of Corrections being required by law to produce a monthly report on inmates who've been deemed fit to plea. In bemoaning the poor condition of the prisons, Commissioner Williams had these recommendations.
We're recommending that there be a proper system in place for the review of persons who are unfit to plea, so that their cases can be returned to court when they may become fit to plea, or when their detention goes long beyond any period of incarceration for that particular offense. And we are also asking that persons who were held under Her Majesty's pleasure or Governor General's pleasure be brought under the court's pleasure, so that the court can review all of these cases in the same way.
William Mitchell for Nationwide News.
Why it has to be a pledger? Why it has to be someone in prison and someone else's pledger? The Queen's pledger, the Governor General's pledger? That wouldn't be a pledger for me to know that someone is locked away in prison for a long time. That couldn't be a pledger. So I think they need to change that terminology from being a pledger. And even, first I must say my condolences to the families who have lost loved ones. I know to lose a loved one under any circumstances is a trialing situation and also a lusting situation. But we must always remember that a man can be arrested under suspicion of a crime, and he might not just be the person who commit the crime. An eyewitness might say he's tall, dark, and so on. So there are millions of tall, dark people out there. So that is why you have a court system, and that court system should be put in place and all the evidence presented to the court, and then a juror and the judge will determine the sentencing. And let's go further. 35 years is the maximum that's supposed to be given to anyone who has been charged and found guilty of a serious crime like murder. Not 40, not 45, not 50, not 53. This is ridiculous.
So
This is inhumane. So I'm going to talk to Sean now. Sean, what was it like when you learned? Speak to me before you get into your charge. Speak to me of what it felt like when you learn of something like what happened to Noel Chambers and also to George Williams. What does this feel to you as a human being? Talk to us.
Well, you know, it feels real sad, real terrible. I mean, anybody who, you know, have a passion for life, for another human being, would really feel caught up about a situation like this. And before I even go any further, the Jamaican government, they got a track record of abandoning their citizens, even overseas here, in jail. When Cuba, Haiti, and all those other countries will go to the penitentiaries or the prisons or the immigration holding facility, the Jamaican government, they have a terrible track record, and they need to also change that too. Because I've seen many cases where people who incarceration and stuff, they send for evil documents for them to evil travel, and they there in immigration holding facilities for 2-3 years. It was this council lady that called Laura McNeil that was in New York, running the New York division. She was terrible. So they got a track record of not taking care of their citizens. So, I mean, I just could imagine, how could someone just ignore somebody just like that? You hold them on suspicion of committing a crime, and they're unable to plead, and you just crush them in prison like that. And this Governor General thing, it's about time that the citizens of Jamaica wake up and get up. People need to go to the Governor General mansion and ask him to quietly put in his resignation. I don't see the use for the Queen to still attach to the Jamaican Constitution. They said Jamaica is independent, but no Jamaica are independent. Jamaican just enjoying post-independent. People who are independent are free. They are sovereign people, you understand, that make sovereign decision on their own. Jamaica is not sovereign, because if you're still attached to the monarchy in England, and I don't see why Jamaica still attached to the monarchy in England, because England treat us with no respect anyway. You understand? And that shit, it tears me up every time I think about it, and think about the treatment that the government give to the people of Jamaica. That's really sad. And I mean,
Very, very sad.
Just looking at Mr. Williams, you can tell that there's something going on with him. I think he need to get a proper medical checked out, because if you notice, when we come on screen the first time, how he was coughing, it's something going on with him.
All right, let's find out a little bit. Yeah, let's find out a little bit more now about his personal condition. Pam, tell us what's going on, and also you can chip into Alwyn. What's going on with the medical condition of George?
All right. Well, I take him to the clinic every last Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, the health center where he get his shots and he get the meds. We have to buy the meds for him. And for him now, like in last year, I took him to the doctor and I did all the blood tests that was required, and he was just developing. The cholesterol is just a little bit high, and he have pain sometimes. He have a lot of pain sometimes. He cries of pain, and sometimes he have this coughing.
Yeah. Is he diabetic or suffers from high blood pressure?
No.
Okay.
No, but differently from that, he only cries of pain sometimes, but
Okay.
and he coughs a lot. So overall, his health condition is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about his mental condition now?
Well, it's mixed up.
Okay.
It's
It
mixed
goes
up.
and comes
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
schizophrenia, more likely.
Right. Yes. That's
He
what they
tends to-
say. You have schizophrenia.
Right. He's like in the
Yeah.
middle of a conversation,
Yeah, and then he
and
start to twist up himself, start different
yes.
things.
Okay,
He
I
stray
see.
from
I
that
see.
conversation to something else.
Yeah, but you can't. You see, what has happened to George is that
It would mess up his brain. It
over
would.
the
It
years,
would.
yeah, if he had gotten
Yes,
proper
over
treatment
50
over the
years.
years, then we could have. It can be
Right,
fixed. A lot of
right.
people, especially when they're younger, if they are administered the
Yeah.
proper treatment, then we can have better results. But at
Right.
age what 74, it's like throwing
Yeah,
water at well.
74. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to
All
be
right,
hard.
I'm going to show the world, for those who have not seen it, what it was like when we made a cash presentation to George
Okay.
from the Rudolph Prendergast Foundation and also from the Real Helping Hand, because Real Helping Hands, and I want those who are watching right now, please, I'm going to put the link in the description below, and I want you to go and find George Williams from Real Helping Hands and pledge your support, because the government has not given him a dollar. Everything rests on the family.
Nothing,
Poor little
nothing,
Pamela
nothing,
and poor little
nothing.
Aldwin, they don't have it. They're not rich people. And when we come back, we're also going to be talking to Sean Prendergast about seeing how we can get some funding in to build a proper structure, you know what I mean, and to see how best we can have George living comfortable, because Pam says he like to eat. When we come back, we're
Yes.
going to find out some of the food that George like to eat and so on. So let's go. Let's go to the video.
Let's declare our freedom.
This is the video.
He's saying a couple here.
I know this token of our appreciation and love for you cannot buy back your 50 years that they took from you. But I would only hope that for a few days, into a few weeks, it can ease your mind just a little bit. And to let the world know that even though they don't want to respect you and pay you any mind, but they must know that they have human beings still left here in Jamaica. And there's still human beings all over the world that still love you, respect you, and honor you. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Adela, on behalf of Sean Prendergast from the Rudolph Prendergast Foundation, and also on behalf of my friend Sadiq Williams from Real Helping Hands, I want to make a cash presentation to you of 40,000 Jamaican dollars. Okay? And I hope that there'll be many more funding coming in. I hope there are many more funding coming in for you, and I pledge my support that I will not just let it stop here. You understand? I will always remember you, George. There was another man by the name of Noel Chambers. Noel Chambers was 81 years old. Can you imagine 81 years old and he spent 40 years in prison, being dumped, being forgotten by some people who don't give a damn, who don't even care. But I care, because this is my brother right here. This is a human being right here. And I will never ever give up on my own people, because this man deserves his dignity, he deserves his sanity, and he deserves to live just like anybody else. So thank you guys. Please reach out. We're gonna set up a crowdfunding with real helping hands. I'm gonna call Siddiqui right now as soon as I get off the phone. Don't worry, man. I love you. And I know all my friends out there love you too. I know Candice love you, and the Observer love you, and Jason Cross and everybody else love you. I will promise you that your suffering will never ever go unnoticed, and you will be remembered. You understand? While you're alive, we don't want to come to your funeral and say, oh, George this and George that. We want to do what we can for you while you're still alive. Yeah. You hear what I'm saying? So I love you, George. I love you from my heart, man. I want you to know that we'll never ever forget you, no matter what. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was just a presentation of us, making George a little bit more comfortable, As you know, it takes a lot. He's a grown man. He needs other things other than food. He need a proper bed. I didn't see a proper bed there for him. He need toiletries. He need a whole lot of stuff to make his life a little bit more comfortable. So let's get into what is the foundation plans. The Rudolph Prendergast Foundation plan for George?
Well, as far as Mr. Williams, we intend to erect a little house for him. Me and a couple other people, friend of mine. So we're gonna get started with that as soon as possible, Yeah, Queen Shaz, a couple other people, Troy and them, they had pledged their support, because, it's still a lot of people out there who care. Some people tends to, use social media for the wrong stuff, while some, they see social media for the good that they could use it to, be a positive instrument in someone's life, And whatever support there is that come along, we will make sure that Mr. Williams got that support. But we're not gonna just let this case grow cold. And I really think that even Mr. Chambers, I'm wondering if Mr. Chambers has any family, any relative, what they are doing about his situation. I think that they should sue the government, especially the Governor General's office. He should get hit with a large stack of paper. Yeah, because it was on their watch why these people suffered the way they suffered in jail. These people are human beings. You understand? So I don't see why they put them behind bars. But in Jamaica, what I notice, people who we call unsound mind, you see them all around the street. People never has any respect for them. A lot of people, they treat them as if they don't belong in the society. They're not a part of our society. And that's wrong. Not because, we had to put ourselves in these people's position. We don't know where tomorrow is going to bring us in life. So we should look at these people's case and treat these people's case the same way as we would want someone to treat our family, or even if we should fall in that category of life.
Point well taken. I'm going to ask Pamela now, because I noticed in the first part of us getting involved with the George William case, I noticed you had an attorney by the name of Isaac Buchanan. Is he still active, and where are you now? Because I know you're going to need funding in order to pay these attorneys' fee. They're not going to just do it for free. And that is why we implore people to go to the crowdfunding, because it's not just to buy food for George Williams, but it's to help the family in maintaining the court costs that it's going to take for him to get into justice. So where are you now in terms of a lawyer? Is one active on the case? Is there a case? Tell us.
Yes, it was Mr. Isaac Buchanan first, but now it's turned over to Mr. John Clark. He's the one who is active now. He filed some documents like 2 months now. He called me like 3 weeks ago and told me that he's still waiting. He didn't get any answer from the government or whosoever supposed to respond. He didn't get any response until now. So everything is still pending.
Okay. And that is why we implore people to utilize the crowdfunding. Because when you go to the crowdfunding, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have $1 million to make your contribution. If you got $10, as little as $5, $50, $20, go to the George William crowdfunding at Real Helping Hands and make your donation so that we can have a strong team of lawyers, because it's going to take a strong team to be able to get what is really due. You know what's so beautiful about George's family meeting with Pamela and actually meeting with Alwyn? They have not shown any bitterness towards the government. You know what I mean? Some family, and if that was me, I would be irate. I mean, I know Sean can't get ready to address that, but if that was me, I would be tooth and nail. I want justice and so on. But the family is very calm, and that is why they should be treated with respect. You know, that's why they're not there going for the jugular and just saying this, that, and you know, we want that. But have a heart. You know, whoever is out there, whoever is responsible for making the life of George William and the other 350, because we must remember that there are a whole lot of other people who have not been charged with a crime. And that is the frightening part about that.
But Big Stone, you know, it's so funny that I heard about this story, you know, I read about it when Mr. Williams was released. And I didn't even know that it was in my backyard that I grew up and run around. Where Mr. Williams is at right now, there's a mango tree out in the front of that yard that me and Jones, me and Alwyn, we go to school together.
Suck up mango. I have a suck up.
We would leave all the way from down in the town and go up to Ivy, because my brothers and sister them, their dad have some property further down the bottom. So, and you got this place called Jato that as kids we would all get together and go there to swim. So I know Jones for a long time. I know this family for a long time. It's just that I leave Jamaica at a young age, you know? Yeah, so, you know, it was, I mean, this even make it more passionate for me.
And personal as well.
Yeah, I didn't even know that happened to this man. Because I wasn't even born when that man went to prison.
Wow. George has certainly touched the lives of
it really touching. And I think instead of the government, Andrew Holness using suppression to rule the people, to reign in the citizens of the country, the native people of the country, he should approach the people in a more respectful manner. Approach them as a people. Approach them in the manner that you run your campaign on. You know, I mean, go on a live and talk to the people. Let the people they call in and express themselves to you. With even the lockdown situation in Jamaica, you're dealing with the people them like you're running a concentration camp. The people of Jamaica deserve better than that.
True.
You can't be silent. You can't try to silence people. You understand? People have their democratic right to speak. No, if as long as no one threaten you with violence, you got no authority to bound no one to stay in their house, or you're sending the authority them to brutalize the people them. The other day I see some disturbing video with the police, how the police they're treating the people them. If you as a government, you all get aid from America, you all get aid from Canada, from Japan and all those countries. So, I mean, instead you have the security force brutalizing the people them of the country. Of the JDF and the ILOCs them that the police they got carrying around some care package got drop off at the people they get at their house so they could have some supply. Stop brutalize the people them, man.
I'm looking at somebody by the name of Trish Human, and he's saying that the family should not wait for the government to give them any compensation. The family must take out a civil case against the government for compensation for miscarriage of justice. So what he's saying, apart from the fact that they had him in prison without a charge, without ever being convicted of a crime, there's also another case that you can file, which is a civil case, where if they don't get found guilty on the other case, the civil case is going to get them. So it's like a backup, if you understand where I'm coming from. But you hear how Sean speak, and I support him. I'm saying that, why are we treating our people, our citizens, some who have done so much work for our people? You know what I mean? And then you just group them up and dump them. I remember an incident that happened in Montego Bay when they're trying to clean up, quote unquote, Montego Bay. They took over 50-something derelict people from off the street. You remember that, Sean?
Uwerton and Linstead was the main point, that they took those people and dumped them.
And they carried them, and they carried them and dumped them in a brand new area that they don't know. Some of these people eat out of garbage. They know where the McDonald's garbage can is, so they can at least find some leftover food. Some people know where that is and that, and so on. So for you to take them from their familiar ground, that even though they're eating out of garbage, and carry them to a new stamping ground, that they have to know they're lost. Where do I get my next meal? You know what I mean? There's no KFC, there's no McDonald's, there's nothing. Where am I going to eat? You know? That is cruel and inhumane. Let's go again and see.
And I don't want people to think that I'm bashing the government or whatever. I'm just speaking the truth. You understand? And in case people didn't know, the party that I affiliated with and vote for it was the Jamaica Labour Party. You understand? Yeah. But I'm not gonna sit around and see the atrocity that been committing against the people of Jamaica, and I'm gonna take side with the government while I'm trying to ease the burden of the people who are suffering. No, I'm gonna stand tall with the people. You understand? And I know people gonna bash and they're gonna say this and they're gonna say that. But I'm one person. I fear neither government nor civilian. You understand? Yeah.
Money, but then supposed to compensate it.
No one. I don't take suppression from no one. Whether politician, civilian than or no one. You understand?
Point well taken. Trish Newman is also saying the amount of financial compensation that he should have been given, which means he should have gotten these money already, should have been enough that he could purchase a nice house. You know what I mean? With a nice swimming pool. You're there, Pamela. You're supposed to have a nice balcony where George can kick back because he ain't got much time left. He's
Yeah.
74 years old. How much longer you think he's gonna live? We don't know.
He's laughing.
And even if he lives to be 100 years old, he's gonna be incapacitated. He can't be
Yeah.
able to move around like when he was 25 and 30. He should have been
Right.
outside.
Yeah.
So at least make him comfortable. He can kick back with his remote and watch an 80-inch screen TV, have more than enough drinks in the fridge and so on, and just kick back and just have fun with what's left of his life. So I agree with Sean. You know, this is not a political thing here. We're not fighting politics. I don't give a damn about politics. What I care about is my people. I care about my Jamaican people who are in need, who needs help. A matter of fact, I'm diagnosed with a heart condition. I am sick with my left lower ventricle. The blood is not pumping freely through my heart. I'm supposed to do an operation. Just to do the angiogram is going to cost $650,000. And then if I need a stent, it's going to cost $1.4 million to put that stent in. And here I am, joining forces with Sean, joining forces with Pamela, joining forces with Siddiqui and Alwyn, and fighting so that Mr. Williams can have a better life. You know what I mean?
And I mean, even though Big Stone is sick, he's still out here doing what he's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Big Stone could be in the United States anywhere right now, living a comfortable life, but he took up himself. You understand how many years ago and go back to Jamaica just to defend the plight of the people. People like Mr. Williams. You understand?
That is it. I
Yeah,
enjoy
that's why I even speak what party I affiliated with, because I know maybe a couple people see this live, they're gonna be like, yeah, the boy they a PMP and him a this and him a that. No. You understand? Because they have a saying that said a man who is earnest doesn't
afraid of
about
consequences.
the work that he's doing. He doesn't fear or worry about any consequences. You understand? And I already know the consequences that politicians, especially the ones in Jamaica, I already know their consequences, and how they do things. You understand? But as I say, I don't scare the Andrew Holness suppression or no done or no body suppression. The only suppression I believe in is the Almighty. You understand? Yeah.
So Alwyn, let's hear from you a little bit more now, Alwyn. You've been silent a little bit. What are the days like now with your brother moving around, and what kind of conversation, if any, do you have with him? Let's kind of dig in and hear the state of mind, because the fans are asking me questions. I'm reading a lot of questions, and they want to know. They want to know how has Mr. Williams been doing, and so on.
Well, many people speaking about insane. I wouldn't classify him as that. I would classify him as a normal human being. He can hold any form of reasoning, and many other times there are some things that he speaks. You have to really sit down and listen, because it's just history. You might never know that he would recall all of those things. Things that happened like 50 or 50, I regard him as a normal human, and there's nothing that I would say, any discussion that I can hold with anybody else that I cannot hold with him. Sometimes I might give you some weird answer, But sometimes when you look into the answer them give you, they are diplomatic. Oh.
So can George give us a diplomatic answer? Because the fans are asking me for him to say anything. We don't care if it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. We just want to hear George speak. George.
Sergi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, talk to me now, George. Your time is now, Dada.
Yeah, man, they did it very easy.
Yes.
Queen Mummy, Mommy, I'm new town.
Yes.
His mother name was Amutal, so he's talking about his mother.
Okay, talk to me about
It's
Mama.
a Queen Mummy Amutal, yeah?
Yeah, man.
I can remember about Mama.
You know about Bird Barn bring George Williams.
Yes.
Come out of Charles Williams, the sperm juice service.
Yes.
All right, Sergi, we hear you.
Yeah, you know that.
Month of April.
When him born.
Yeah. People are going crazy in the chat room here. One person is asking, why would he be considered insane, you know?
Yeah. So all we are doing, we are ask the good people them on this live to tell a friend, and that friend tell a friend, and let's all be good citizen of this, well, good what you would call it, of this earth, good people of this earth, and help the ones them who cannot help themselves, you know? Yeah, man. So I'm asking everyone to just chip in and donate.
Yeah, before this live is over,
right?
I want to see when we go back. I want everybody on this panel. I'm asking Mr. Trish Newman, Queen and Princess Channel, JJ, and everybody else, even a small contribution of $10.
Yes, everyone.
Please go to realhelpinghands.com, type in George Williams, and you'll see his story, and you can make your contribution. Every mickle make a muckle, as Sean says. Every dollar is important.
And before this week is out, I'm gonna put a story on the foundation website too, on the rp.org. I'm gonna put a story with him too, and you know, the relevant information where you guys could also donate to, who is in the US, if it's better for you guys, you know?
Yeah. Somebody just asked, what was he charged? He was never charged with a crime. He was never charged with a crime. He was never placed before the court. You know, they suspected him just like how you would suspect anybody else of committing a crime, but he wasn't charged with a crime, right? And placed before the court. Just like Noel Chambers, he wasn't charged with a crime. And we have 350 people or more that is locked up in the judiciary system that was not charged with a crime. And if you're not charged with a crime, what do you have to stand trial for? You should have been, if they suspect that you're schizophrenia or you have a insane problem or so on. So there are relevant areas that you can be transferred to, and you be seek some treatment.
Patrick Allen, who is the Queen representative, or whosoever him want to be, understand? He should be ashamed of himself, because under his watch, this man, Mr. Chambers, died with such an, injustice. He didn't die with no dignity. That man died on the tough concrete in a dirty, infested prison cell. You understand? With bed bugs and stuff eating his body. I mean, just think about it. While he's over in his big mansion, governor's mansion, with his grass, his lawn well groomed. You understand? I remember years ago somebody went over there, jumped the fence and plucked some ackee off of the tree. And they locked the man up over some ackee. You understand? Stuff like that. Stuff like that tear me up, man. You understand? If you see we own maroon skin people them I carry out such an injustice against them brother and sister.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because justice that deny, you know, when justice that deny to a man, that's something that I mean, them take away man dignity, them take away everything from him. You understand? Everything them take away from him. I'm sure they get to see their grandkids and stuff like that. This man, him don't have that chance. I don't even think him ever take a trip to a beach or see how beautiful our country is.
Yeah.
You understand? But all them they do a sell out the country and I do all type of something. Bring in the Chinese them to take over all of the little town them in Jamaica. How comes you not give Chinese so much power in Jamaica? That's what I want to know. The government them when them assign these memorandum of understanding, them sign out and sell out the country, sell out the people them. The whole a sentence beer, a beer China there. You have rich Jamaican in the diaspora that wanna come back home or whatever. We cannot go to Beijing and buy property or stuff like that. We can go there and rent and lease property. So why Andrew Holness don't sign the same type of contracts with these people when they come in? The Chinese should not allow to come in Jamaica and purchasing out the whole of Jamaica. Allow them to lease but cannot purchase. Allow them to come in and build roads and bridges and do whatever, but bring 30% of their worker and the next 70% must be Jamaican, the people of Jamaica. If you don't build factories and set up jobs for the youth them, how you think you gun them or stop blaze? The only fault I find with the guns them blazing in Jamaica, these youngsters, they turning the gun in the wrong direction on themselves. You understand? They're not turning the guns them on the right culprits them.
Yeah. Well, this is a beautiful country, and it touches the core of my heart to find out that we have over 920 something people murdered already with only 8 months in. You know, in next month is going to be the 9 months. So it's clear that by the end of the year, we're going to have well over 1,000 people again losing their lives. What we're going to wrap up now is 1 hour that we've been on. We know that George is a little uncomfortable just sitting there and so on. Let's go back to Pamela. We're going to have Sean having the last word. Well, I'm going to have the last word. I'm finished sure.
Yeah.
I want to hear from Pamela and, of course, Aldwin what they want. What type of an outcome would they really want for George Williams?
Well, all right. For right now, we need a proper housing for him. You know, remember he was in prison for 50 years, living uncomfortable in that cell. Even now, he still have that hunch. If you realize, he said he's always
bend over. Yeah.
Yes. So when he's walking down the hill, he run because he cannot balance up. So if he's going down a steep hill, he's like bounced down.
Wow.
So we really need a proper housing for him. You know, the living condition, it's it's not that comfortable. So we need a proper housing for him. He lost all his teeth. Some of them, they pain him. I forgot that part. He cried for toothache many times. So I would like to remove all those broken tooths and get him some plates. Because like when he's eating, you know, all of here is like it's drawing up the neck
Okay.
here.
I'm
So
feeling
because of the
pain.
broken, right. So overall, he needs everything, but we know we have to take it one step at a time. And we go from strength to strength. So, you know, always watching the live. You know, whosoever can reach out, as Big Stone said, if even at $10, we really appreciate it. And we will stretch it and try to do the best for George to have a better life. For the time that he's here, he's very strong. He can live for the next 50 years because he's very, very strong. And, you know, we try to do our best. Sometimes we don't have it, but we still try to do our best. Mr. Prendergast, big up yourself.
Every
All right.
time, man.
Let's hear from Alwyn. Alwyn.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, for whosoever that be, I'm crying out. It's hard. It's rough. And I want you to understand my position when I say that. Sometimes I have to leave him alone to even go out there and go look it. And I don't want it to happen because many things can happen.
Okay.
Many things can happen. Right? And sometimes I wish that I would be around him, even the 24 hours of the day, that I can even give, say, some response to anything that happens. And I can't do it because I have to go out there and go look. So to whosoever that be, I am crying out from my heart for some help. And sincere help in every way that can. So for this live show, as I said before, we
You're coming in a little broken up there. We're not hearing
whosoever
you.
is very
Yeah, you're coming in a little broken up there, Alwyn. But we get the message. We
on
get
the
the
last
message.
part.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get the message.
Yeah, okay.
We get the message. Sean, you're going to be able to speak now, but someone is asking if there's a contact number that they can reach out to the foundation and, you know, and find out what's going on on your neck of the woods. So if there's a number you want to go public with, now is your opportunity to go public. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you can give her my number, give the person my number, man, him or her, you know, just give them my number, just tell them get in touch with me.
Well, give them your email address, you know, because there's
Yeah.
no way I can type it in the chat room here without everybody else seeing it. So
yeah, well, you know, it's not that I'm hiding. My number is 215 433 4790. That's my number. Anyone could call me. Even Andrew Holness could call me. Christopher Tufton, any one of them from the government. Call me and let me tell them how I feel, you know?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the numbers is placed there on your screen. If you want to get in touch with Sean, you can dial him at 215-433-4790. You can talk to him. He's very straightforward. He's my friend, and he's very concerned about what has been happening to his people here in Jamaica. I'm concerned too. That's why I do the things that I do. What else you want to say, Sean? Before we go.
As long as, I mean, anyone could call me, as long as they calling me with some on a positive note. If they gonna call me to talk some rubbish, don't call my number. You understand? But I will appreciate the good calls, you know? If they want to talk about how we could take Jamaica you know, on a forward level, the stuff that we could implement on our own, you know, as far as helping people who cannot help themselves, I'm down with it, you know. And I'm just asking Delroy Chuck, you know, I mean, give Mr. Williams, Mr. George Williams, the justice that he deserves, and the Governor General, because we might think that they're not watching us, you know. They're watching and hearing everything that we're saying. You understand? So if we don't have a heart, we don't deliver justice to Mr. Williams and the other 350 prisoners. I wouldn't even call them prisoners. I mean, they're decent citizens
No,
of
but
the country.
they're prisoners. They've been held against their will.
Yeah, they're held. Yeah, they're holding.
So
Yeah, they become.
we have made them not humane or human citizens. They have made them prisoners. So, you know, they have to release them from that kind of captivity.
Yeah, and Mr. Holness, my last word is I am asking you, as the leader, the chief in command of the country, to release those political prisoners, because y'all holding them against their will. So you all let them become y'all political prisoners. And you all own the political platform that could make this transformation. Free these people. Set them free. Let them go home to their family and enjoy the rest of their life here on earth. And you all need to apologize to these families too. None of you all come on the platform and make a public apology for the atrocity that been committed against these people.
Well, we end on that note. That's powerful, coming from the president and founder of the Rudolph Prendergast Foundation. It's been I wouldn't say wonderful 1 hour and 12 minutes, because it's not. It's a painful 1 hour and 12 minutes. Having to sit here and listen to Sean Prendergast speak, and to listen to Pamela Green and Alwyn Jones, and to watch my brother, you know, George William, you know, just sitting there, you know, it touches the core of my heart. They know what they must do. They know what they must do, and do it expeditiously, and do it now. Go ahead, Sean.
And before I go, what happened to the representative of St. Catherine, of Yorton district? That representative should come around and visit the family.
None.
You know what? I can't understand.
There's none. Nobody came and see you?
None. There's none. N-O-N-E, none. Nobody.
No exist.
I can't see why that constituency of Yorton never lost an election when it come on to the People's National Party. And I can't see why
for over the
people
years.
still keep
Over the
voting
years.
for these people over and over. The people of Jamaica, all I can say to you all, wake up. Try to find that exit door and leave that maze that you all trapped in. The government got you all trapped in a maze. You all try to find that exit and get out of that. You understand? For far too long, this thing been going on. They just come around when it's voting time, get their vote, and that's it. Like Bob
Don't see
Marley,
them
great
again till
Bob
4
Marley
years'
said,
time.
like the great Bob Marley said, you know, they're killing the people while they have their fun. When you sit around not doing anything to curb the crime of the country.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's a great note for us to end this. It's been 1 hour and 14 minutes. I want to thank my guests for appearing here today. I want to thank Sean Prendergast from the Rudolph Prendergast Foundation. I want to also thank Pamela Green, the niece of George Williams. And I also want to thank Aldwin Jones, the younger brother to George William. And thank you all for joining in, every single one of you. And remember, the GoFunding, the crowdfunding is there. The link will be provided after we finish this live broadcast, where you guys can, go and get the link and make your contribution. Help George Williams. He needed us this time. As you can see, he's not going to use the money to go girl hunting. George probably forget about finding a girl now. You understand what I'm saying? He just need to survive. He just need that money to survive. So thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by, Sean.
Yeah, well, it's always a pleasure, as long as it have something to do with my people. I love Jamaica dearly, If I even die out of grass here, I always tell my family, just make sure my remain come back home.
Finally home. All right. So remember, again,
you're my artist. You understand?
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with Sean, his number is on the screen. You can dial him at 215-433-4790. George, you want to say this? The last word is on you, George. Rastafari.
Rastafari.
Yes, I am.
Rastafari.
And Jamaica love you, George. We love you, George. We love you, George.
I have a share sister. Yes, sir.
We love you.
Yes, I love you too.
Okay,
Yeah,
George.
George.
I love you, George. I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.
I love you too.
Yeah, your injustice not gonna go down the drain
not gonna
like
go
that.
Unnoticed, George. We're here for you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Respect.
No
George.
problem.
Blessed
Do this
love,
another time.
yeah.
Pam, we're gonna keep in touch with you. And from time to time, we're gonna come back again, myself,
Hey,
Sean,
Joan.
and Aldwin and so on, and to see how George is doing. The world want to know. They love him. They're interested in his story.
You're welcome anytime. No problem.
They want to know how he's doing. All right.
Yeah,
so
man.
take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Justice must come.
Justice is a must.
Yeah,
all
man.
right.
Yeah.
Love.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, Uncle Sean, later.
Free the people, them.
All right.
Stop using suppression against the people.
You hear that? Stop using suppression against the people.
Yeah. You know the definition of what suppression is, so I don't have to tell you the definition.
Them know what suppression be, man.
Yeah.
Give her thanks, guys.
Blessed.
Love.